starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome into Tuesday's edition of The Big Show on your total sports station, KTGR. Andy and Brendan here as we get closer to the start of the NCAA tournament. Technically starts tonight. In case everybody, forgot their games tonight. That's probably not something that people recognize as much. But, hey, they expand it. Maybe they'll recognize it more. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
There's just like one game per day on the Tuesday, Wednesday that really matters. No offense to the 16 seeds, but they did you dirty because now they're making you play your way in, and it doesn't really matter which of you wins. We don't have high expectations. But those 11s that play their way in can be feisty in the round of 64. So that's at least one game worth paying attention to tonight on the hardwood.
Well, we will keep getting your thoughts on how you think Mizzou will do. Again, they play late Friday in St. Louis. Yes, the very last game of the first round. Keep giving us your thoughts on that. We'll also talk the WBC final tonight. The injury expert Will Carroll joins us at 4:25. A very interesting AFC West trade and much more.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
First off, though, who's your NCAA champion? Who's it going to be? Or are you going to take all the way in your bracket challenge this year? I mean, the ones are pretty strong. I mean, I do wonder about Duke and whether they might be a little too bogged down by injuries at this point. Arizona seems to be really strong. And, of course, Florida's on a warpath, essentially, although they did have a hiccup against Vanderbilt in the conference tournament. Twos can be interesting as well. I'm always going to take Houston pretty far, just selfishly, as the homer pick for me. But in the end, I think there is not much that is stopping Arizona at this point. They just look way too complete. I think they're most likely to be the NCAA champion this year. Probably who I'll take in my bracket. Oh, let's be honest. I'm taking Houston in my bracket. Come on. Let's be real. That's the Big Show's big deal on the 17th day of March 2026.
Wow.
We want to hear your NCAA champion. Who are you taking all the way? That's my heart pick, Brendan. The head pick is Arizona. The heart pick
objectivity
is U of H, baby. But,
well, and you know what? They're on separate sides of the bracket, so you can take them both to the championship game, and that still would be a great run for Houston. Obviously, they want to probably get over the hump after coming so close last year, but they've got to be in that region with Florida. If you're talking about your Cougs, that could be interesting if they meet up in the Elite Eight.
They'd be playing in Houston, but yeah. That's
no, that's
helpful.
Okay. Didn't really think about that as a home court advantage potentially there. Could be enough. And I don't think Florida's quite as potent as they were last year, but they're pretty dang good still. I think a deserving one seed. I do have my bracket. It's showing.
Hey, handwritten. There you go.
But you'll notice it's blank. I haven't filled it out.
You haven't made your picks. You've just drawn the lines and the teams and where they're seated.
Yeah, I used to immediately. I mean, selection show, fill it out, write out like a rough draft, and then kind of make tweaks and changes from there. But I'm sitting with it a little bit this year. But this will be good to kind of talk out. I agree with you, though, as you talked about in the Big Show's big deal. Like these top seeds, I do wonder if this is another one of those years where we get toward the end of the tournament and we're going, oh, my gosh, what a chalky March Madness it was. I just think when you talk about a handful of teams at the top of this thing, they're head and shoulders above some of the others. I'm looking at Duke. I'm looking at Arizona, as you mentioned them. I think Michigan's still really, really strong. Florida, obviously, out of the SEC. I'll give a little love to your Houston Cougars. And I'll mention Iowa State as another 2 seed that I really like.
Yeah.
I don't know if outside of those 6, really anybody's got a chance to cut down the nets. Is that crazy?
I mean, maybe not. I mean, UConn probably still does.
Yeah.
They're always still there.
I'm not going to put them on that list. They're there. They can make a Final Four run. I don't think they can win it. I don't think they can win it all this year.
Yeah, especially if the teams that you mentioned are involved in the Final Four. Maybe not this year's UConn team has the juice to get that done. Yeah, there seems to be a drop-off once you get to 3. The 3 line.
And I'll actually include Purdue in that. I know they won the Big Ten tournament. I don't think Purdue's winning this thing either.
Well, yeah. I mean, it does feel like it's still a strong team, probably still Sweet 16. Mizzou obviously hopes not, but I think when you get to 3, like the 3 I like the most is Illinois, but even then, that's like
and they're streaky. The 3s feel like 4s this year.
Yeah,
the 3s really do. They feel. I honestly, and we'll get into it as time approaches. I feel like maybe one of those 3s could trip up in the first round. I don't have a good read on exactly which one, but I just don't think the strength is as. Sometimes, man, those 3s you feel like could really make a run to the Final Four.
Oh, mine's North Dakota State. My North Dakota State is
knocking off
my
Sparty?
pick. Yeah, with Sparty. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
I'm usually an upset kind of guy, and I pick them all, and I just revel in the ones that happen. It's not often that we get a bunch these days, but this year I'm struggling to find the ones that I like. I just don't know about too many of those 12, 13, 14 seeds that are going to advance. I don't know that we get, but maybe 1 or 2 at most that do it,
Man.
which I hate as a guy who loves upsets, man. But I think that as much as I don't love the 3s to advance and really have a chance to win the tournament, let's talk about the 4s. I mean, Kansas, Arkansas, we know Alabama's kind of going through it a little bit right now with the Holloway situation. Nebraska, like other than maybe Nebraska is one that I could see tripping up to Troy. I don't know how good Troy really is, but I don't trust Nebraska.
I mean, I think Nebraska will at least get past that.
I think the 4s are largely pretty safe too.
I actually Nebraska will get past their first round opponent, but I like Vandy to beat them after that. I think Vandy gets into the Sweet 16.
Yeah, they're playing McNeese, and that's a program with a little tournament experience. But Will Wade is gone, so that's who got him there the first time or the last time. UNI, St. John's. St. John's has been a little susceptible. Maybe that's a 12/5. I like High Point, but I think Wisconsin's a very worthy 5 seed of winning a game and maybe going further. I always strain to find those upsets, Andy, and I'm not sure at Texas Tech, like, oh yeah, let's go with the Akron team that got the MAC over Miami, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think Texas Tech is gonna be a high scoring game, but I think Texas Tech is gonna pull away and win pretty easily. So I don't know, maybe I'm in my feelings a little bit today because by this time of the week, normal, I'm already hyping up some upsets, and right now, I'm just not sure. I really think I'm bracing myself for a chalky March Madness this year.
Well, I don't know if it happens in the first round, but it could happen in the second round. Like I like every single 5 to advance.
So
everyone.
I don't want to feel that way.
No, but I think that's going to happen. I think we're going to see almost every single 5 be playing in the second weekend. Unless I think the most likely 5 to get picked off is probably Wisconsin. I mean, even then though, like Wisconsin,
I think High Point St. John's would have been a better upset bid than High Point Wisconsin. UNI out of the Valley, I'm not sure they've got the juice to get by St. John's. I agree with you. I'm probably writing in just about all the 5s. I might force one, Andy. I might force an upset just because that's in my nature. We want to root for these upsets in March Madness, but I don't know. I'm upset looking at this bracket thinking, yeah, those 5 seeds look pretty safe. Those 4 seeds largely look pretty safe. I don't know what to do with myself.
Well, again, that middle tier seemed to be a strong enough middle tier to the point where you're not thinking of High Point getting it done in that scenario. And then I think you go down to the next best crop, and the 6s are fine. I actually think we could see more 11s. You got some chances at 11s.
I mean, South Florida, Louisville, you could flip a coin on that one for me. You rooting for Texas tonight, taking on NC State, winner gets BYU? What do you think about that? SEC supremacy, or you want to see the Wolfpack?
Don't much care about the SEC aspect of it, but I would like to see Texas get that one done. They maybe feel a little bit irked by the fact that they fell so low, but I think it was deserved with how they finished the season. I would like to see a team like that try to get up off the mat and prove that they can then move on to their next opponent, which they would get would they get BYU after that? Okay. Yeah. And then I would like them to get past BYU. In fact, Texas.
Well, and I mean, if something funky can happen for Missouri, win that first game, Purdue lays an egg. I don't know if it's likely, but I would like another crack at a team that we've at least seen, like Missouri and Texas in that round. I think BYU would be tough. I think Gonzaga would be tough, obviously. I mean, it's really one game at a time from the Missouri perspective. But yeah, I think tonight's game will be fun. The total's pretty high, up in like the 150s, expecting some fireworks maybe with some scoring prowess from those teams. So I like the idea of these 11s. The other 11 matchup obviously has Miami, Ohio. That's going to be interesting tomorrow.
It will be. And Brendan, I wonder if SMU just hears all that talk of like Miami, Ohio, they're this darling team, and it's an excellent thing that they're included in this tournament. But my gosh, look how close they were to missing it by losing just one game in their conference tournament. It almost completely put them out. They're going to roll and show that they're ready to be reckoned with in this tournament. I bet SMU is like, go ahead, keep talking about Miami, Ohio. Keep going.
SMU
keep on going.
Favored. I think SMU is favored pretty heavily, actually, which it feels right. Like when I asked, hey, would you click the button that gets Missouri in the first four against them? And a lot of people said yes. Obviously, glad it didn't work out that way. We're playing the other Miami, the real tournament.
Yeah.
But I kind of felt that where it's like, I don't know that Miami, Ohio is actually that good, and they haven't played that well recently. So I do think SMU is going to win, but they're laying 6.5 as I look at the spreads right now. That feels like a big number. Miami, Ohio is going to play with some pride, but that'll be an interesting kind of litmus test, I think, of, what a committee does. I don't know that it will have bearing into the future, but if you go unbeaten in your regular season, but you don't play a quad one game and you trip up in your conference tournament, what does that look like when you do get the bid? And I think ultimately it's tricky because Miami of Ohio probably tried to schedule more difficult, but they didn't get a chance to. And so they're being punished for that. That's a really difficult kind of quandary, because I feel like if they were 28-3 with a couple of quad one losses on there, I don't think people would necessarily be as up in arms, and it wouldn't be as controversial. Like, yeah, that's a team that deserves a shot at it because they ran the table in conference play, and, their only losses came to whomever. But that I'm just eager to watch that game play out to see if it holds up. Like, does Miami hold up in this matchup where people were talking about for weeks, it seemed, their worthiness of being in the field as an at-large?
Call or text us. Who's your NCAA champion? Text it to us, 573-875-KTGR. Either way, I think either SMU or Miami, Ohio is getting smoked by Tennessee the next game.
I do tend to lean Tennessee either way. Yeah, I think the 11 in the Texas NC State contingent has a better chance of pulling the next round upset. I don't really think I'll be fading Tennessee. I don't think SMU's that good. I think they're fortunate that they match up with Miami, because that's probably a winnable game for them. You talked about 11s, though. Do you like VCU over North Carolina? That's a team that I think could be interesting if UNC doesn't put his best foot forward. UNC a little bit volatile as a team.
Yeah. I mean, and they've had to navigate injuries themselves, but they're still going to have a very clear talent edge. I don't think so, for whatever reason. I'm still kind of like, yeah, VCU made this run, but I'm not sure if it's going to last into this one here. New coach, and it's not to say that he's a bad coach, but it's just sometimes when you get your first taste of the tournament, maybe you don't all the way.
A lot of people don't like North Carolina's coach, though. Not sure about
fair.
him.
I mean, he has taken them a distance before, though. He's been very good himself at North Carolina. So I think I probably won't pick that one as an upset. What's the other 6-11?
That's the South Florida,
Louisville. No, that one I'll think about.
I don't like either of those teams, so you might as well go with the upset if you're looking for a little juice.
Because again, South Florida, and it's not, VCU was in a similar spot, but South Florida needed to win their conference tournament in order to get in. And honestly, like, they had more of the target on their back while doing it. They were expected to do it and ended up pulling through. So I think they, through that war, can then go and see, okay, now we get to play underdog a little bit, and maybe that helps them out. So I actually like South Florida to get that upset there. It's not going to be. I don't think it will be carnage like we maybe see in some other years. I think it will be kind of straightforward through the first weekend. Let's be honest, though, that creates better matchups later. Like it makes for compelling basketball.
You want the first round upsets. After that, it all kind of comes out in the wash. I'm just looking at some of these, like obviously the 7 versus 10, the 8 versus 9. Those are going to be tight spreads, just in terms of what is expected. But outside of those, I'm looking for single digit spreads that are 6 or 11 gap or greater. And I'm scrolling right now and I'm not really seeing it. The Akron, Texas Tech one is 7.5. That's kind of close. But I really actually like Texas Tech in that one. I mean, VCU, North Carolina, that's the upset I'll probably have to pick just because the spread is close and I'm going to be eager to write some double digit seeds in there. But most of these are 10.5, 11.5, 13.5 on the point spread. And I don't know. Some years it feels like we've got those underdogs that are given a little bit more credit than what I'm seeing in this year's bracket.
Mark C texted in 875 KTGR. Watch out for McNeese, Santa Clara, VCU, and St.
Santa
Mary's.
Clara. That's a 10 versus 7. That certainly could be
playing Kentucky.
I'm not going to really count out any of the 10s. I think I like St. Mary's over A&M, UCLA, UCF. I'll probably flip a coin. I have no idea there. Kentucky, though, Santa Clara is probably one of the more compelling matchups of the first round, in my opinion. Like that's Kentucky's -3.5, but that's going to be. I'm hoping that's a good game. That's the early game in St. Louis on Friday.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one before Mizzou plays, long before Mizzou plays on Friday.
Oh, yeah. About 12 hours before Mizzou's. I mean, Mizzou's game will probably end about 12 hours after
they start the first
starts.
session as the first window of the early part, and then the second session begins last in the evening window. I don't know.
And they're playing an East Coast team. Like, not that it really, like, we don't really care that much, but if you're a Miami fan and you're watching this over in Florida, you're like, why is my team playing
up till past midnight? Actually,
you say 10:10, it's going to be more like 10:30.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, just with the way things go.
You will be up until 1 a.m. watching them review with like 5.6 on the clock. Be like, we got to put more time on. Let's go look at the monitor.
Hopefully no Pat Adams. I don't know if we know
I don't know if we know that.
The assignments, but
oh man, that wouldn't be great.
On a national scale, he would really be a tough cookie with the reviews.
Either way, that is going to be what Mizzou fans have to maybe overcome. Yeah, I don't know how to feel. I put St. Mary's and Santa Clara in kind of a similar vein, not just because they're from the same conference, but it's just this stage. This is Santa Clara's. I can't remember how many bids they've had, but they couldn't have had very many before this. How many times they've been to the NCAA tournament?
I don't think so. They've been like a solid team in the West Coast Conference in recent years, but
yeah, it's happened recently, the way they built up and been able to compete at times with Gonzaga and St. Mary's.
I don't see any tournament appearances for them in this era.
Yeah.
Nope, not since 95, 96.
There you go.
St. Mary's, they've done it pretty consistently.
Sure. I trust both teams equally, which is not that much.
Which is not to say a lot of either of them.
No. Yeah. But I'd put them in, I'd pencil them in potentially for a first round win, but they're not.
No, I'm going. I can just write Iowa State right now.
Yeah.
In my bracket, regardless of who I pick in the 7 versus 10. I like the Cyclones this year. I really do.
Yeah. And then Houston's got a good draw in that one in OKC, either A&M or St. Mary's there. They'll be fine until the Sweet 16. So yeah, like with my heart, Cougs are going all the way, but head tells me I am a little worried about Arizona potentially stumbling against a Wisconsin in the Sweet 16. But other than that, no one on the other side of that region they should be worried about, including Purdue. And then once they get to the Final Four, I mean, we shall see. But I just think
Arizona's got a good path. Yeah, I think they'll ultimately be in the Final Four.
And honestly, I'm I mean, the fact that Duke still has UConn in their region. I know UConn we didn't say is like a
No, but you're right.
top
Like
good. It's not
they've got a
great draw.
pedigree, and if they should upset Duke, I don't think anybody would be stunned to their core. I am going to have a tricky time figuring out what to do with that region. I feel like Iowa State, Michigan would be a really interesting Elite Eight matchup. To be different, I might write in Iowa State, but then I'll be really. It just feels like if you don't pick the chalk this year, you're going to be riding some sweaty moments in this tournament because there are teams that I just don't think the 1 seeds are going down early. I'll be rooting for SLU to beat Georgia and take their swing at Michigan, but Michigan's really, really good.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that'll be my one. I don't even know if you can call it an upset, but Iowa State to the Final Four. I've been talking them up a lot, and I think that might be something that I do. But is there another team that you're like, hey, this team could really go deep that isn't one of the main seeds? It's just hard to predict that at times when you just feel so good about the highly ranked seeds this year.
I mean, the only one I'll say is just don't let Arkansas get hot.
I agree with that. I mean, I agree with that. I think if they were in a different region, like you said, I think Arizona is really playing well.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a tough matchup in the Sweet 16. But I agree with you. If they can win that game, I think Arkansas is a Final Four sleeper, without a doubt.
Because Calipari will know how to handle it. Took them to the Elite Eight last year, right? And then they got, was that Sweet 16? No, they got past Tech in that Sweet 16 game, didn't they?
I think so.
So that was well done coaching wise for Cal in that situation, and he's got a team that's playing really well right now. Everybody on that roster, and I hate to say it, Trevin Brazil's part of that. But,
dang it.
Yeah,
you're right.
It's a hot team, so if they stay hot, then yeah, Wisconsin's in trouble. Arizona might even be in trouble. That is a very tough, potentially Sweet 16 game for Arizona. But once they get past that, you're like, okay, yeah, they're fine.
No Mizzou love for the Final Four?
Yeah. I mean, never say never. Got to get that first one. I just want to see them get one.
Yeah.
Like, as I say, I don't want them to get more. But get this one in a spot that's pretty tailor-made for you to get one against another high major that finished in a similar standing in their own conference to you, and ride the home crowd. You're slight underdog, but not insurmountable by any means.
Yeah.
And you match up metrics-wise pretty similarly. You get your points in a similar way that they do.
I'm afraid they're better at doing the same stuff, though.
Yeah, but it won't take all that much. It could take a different type of game from somebody on Mizzou that we haven't seen recently to then get them over the top. We'll see. But
yeah,
I think it's it's a game that is tailor-made for Dennis Gates to just say, look, guys, we can advance in the NCAA tournament. We've done it before during my time here. We can do it again. It's just a way to kind of silence people about all that
awesome
consternation, right?
Yeah, it'd be good to see that.
So look,
it's possible. It's more than possible.
So look, you keep hope alive for as much as you possibly can. Mizzou, a 10 seed, taking on the 7 Miami late Friday night. We'll see how they do. Who is your national champion, though? Who are you picking in your brackets? Call or text us at 573-875-KTGR. And don't forget, upload your handwritten brackets to the KTGR app, just like Brendan did. He's showing it on YouTube.
As we talk through this.
Yeah, he's
my champion.
Doing his homework
might be
now.
Arizona.
Before the tournament starts tonight. Go and you can still upload your bracket.
Oh, yeah, we got
first four.
Tonight's
we'll
games
let
don't
you still
count.
do that.
Tonight's games don't count. The next day's games do not count. Thursday's got, tip off on Thursday mornings.
Right.
Got to be that deadline.
But again, you can take a photo of your handwritten bracket on a blank page. You don't have to draw in the lines. You can just print out a blank bracket from ESPN or NCAA, whatever you want. Fill in your picks, handwrite them, take a photo, upload it to the KTGR app, and we'll send you a free t-shirt. That's all you got to do. Doesn't even matter if you pick the champion or get the picks right or anything like that. No, just upload the photo of your written in bracket and you'll earn a free KTGR t-shirt just for doing that. You can also enter into our online bracket pool through ESPN. If you go get details on the KTGR app or ktgr.com, we have a link where you can join there and you can enter in for a chance at some other cool prizes. So be sure to do that as well, along with your handwritten bracket. Get all the details on the free KTGR app. Tell us who your champion is at 875-KTGR. We'll make our picks on who we think the WBC champion will be later on tonight. And we'll ask the injury expert Will Carroll next about the ins and outs of tonight's final in Miami and some Cardinals and Royals injuries to keep an eye on before the season starts next week. Wow, how about that? We'll get to that next with Will Carroll on The Big Show, KTGR.
Breaking down the Tigers, Cardinals, Chiefs, and more like no one else. The Big Show continues next on KTGR.
When it comes to tree care, knowledge matters. And Advanced Tree Solutions doesn't just cut, they care. Educate, communicate, and protect the health of your trees. Whether for homeowners associations, golf courses, apartment complexes, you name it. And it's one less thing to worry about. With expert service and yearly discounts, your business and your trees are in good hands. Call Eric at Advanced Tree Solutions today. Advanced Tree Solutions, your tree's best friend. AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com.
My name is Taylor, and I have had insurance with Phyllis Nichols and her team for over 9 years. A auto claim came when my wife was rear-ended. Everyone was safe, but that left a lot of cosmetic damage on her brand new car. We called Phyllis, said, hey, this is what happened, and she's made it a very streamlined process. Phyllis lined out our rental car and made everything just so easy. And having 3 kids and losing a vehicle is a big deal, but Phyllis went to bat for us, got everything lined out, and made it a very easy process.
My name is Max Volkner. I'm a marketing consultant with Zimmer Communications. Working as a marketing consultant was not something I was expecting to do in my lifetime whatsoever. So getting the job here and then having so many helpful people around you to help you be successful was really awesome for me and is what made me fall in love with this job. Team is great. We all want to see each other succeed. I think that's a huge part of working here and huge benefit of working here.
If you're up for the challenge, apply now at ZimmerCommunications.com.
If you're craving something delicious, find your way to the Pasta Factory, where everything's made from scratch daily. Their fresh sauces, cakes, quiche, dressings, and soups are sure to tantalize your taste buds. And all pasta entrees are cooked, baked, and tossed to order. Don't leave without sampling those homemade desserts, lovingly crafted by Jason and Rob. Good. The Pasta Factory. Visit them at 3103 West Broadway Business Park, right in front of Walmart. Celebrating 50 years in business. The Pasta Factory, where fresh meets flavor.
From elegant weddings to corporate lunches with flavor and flair, Courtyard by Marriott Columbia brings the party and the pros. It's the home of Main Event Catering. And with every event, you'll get an award-winning chef, full banquet staff, and drop-and-go options for any size crowd. And the event center holds up to 300 guests with 8 flexible rooms. If you need help, there's a Marriott certified wedding coordinator on staff too. Book now by calling 573-443-8000.
To you, they're basically invisible. Tiny, weird, winged insects. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Not exactly. You see, while you're living your best human life above ground, there could be up to 1 million termites foraging for wood underneath your home. Steve's Pest Control needs you to know that termites are a serious problem. Like up to $5 billion a year serious. Oh, and that homeowner's insurance you've got? Yeah, termite damage isn't covered. In Missouri, it's not a matter of if you're going to get termites, it's when. A termite queen can lay over 20,000 eggs a day, and their colonies could house up to 1 million termites each. Upgrade your 5-star service with Steve's to the 5-star Advantage plan. In most cases, for less than $1.50 per day, you can show those termites that the Centricon system and Steve's Pest Control are a serious threat too.
Hi, I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
Tired of calling Andy and Brendan? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of The Big Show.
Back here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Andy and Brendan here. Baseball season, it officially starts next week, the Major League season at least. Of course, tonight's going to be locked into baseball for the World Baseball Classic final between Team USA and Team Venezuela. And here to talk all things baseball and the injuries that come with it, the injury expert Will Carroll. You can find his newsletter at undertheknife.substack.com and also his podcast, Injury Territory, wherever you get your podcasts. So we're excited for this matchup here, Will. USA and Venezuela. I mean, obviously, USA expected to be in this spot each and every time this event rolls along. We've had a little bit of difference into who else has been in this final, and this appears to be Venezuela's first time to get there. They're obviously loaded, but maybe how do you kind of look at this matchup and whether you're surprised that it's this one in particular, Will?
I'm not. It's not what we expected, but Japan, surprising out. It's a very good team that has a very good setup, and the one and done kind of thing makes it so upsets are entirely possible, if not probable, much like the NCAA tournaments, which are about to start. So it doesn't surprise me that it's not the same. USA came very close because Rob Manfred's guy didn't realize how the math worked. That's what you get for not having an actual manager or somebody who is basically just gifted the position running the show. How seriously are you taking it when you're doing this? Do you not at least have somebody advising him? I've said for years they need to have some kid who basically lives his life on Madden advising coaches on how to use timeouts and running the end of the game. But this is one of those blind spots. So I'm excited about it. Team Italy should be called the Italian Americans. I didn't even know Aaron Nola was Italian, but he did a heck of a job. They played to win last night, didn't. So I'll be curious. I don't want to be political here, but a lot of people think Venezuela is like this war-torn place, and they got a Winter Baseball League, and they've got a great baseball tradition. Mm-hmm. They're a very proud organization. I'm sure Nicolas Maduro won't be watching, but the entire country down there will. And I think it'll be a really charged up game. And that's what makes me a little bit angry that it's going to be Nolan McLean. Nothing against Nolan McLean. Really good young pitcher. I think he's going to be a very good one. The Mets have been building up their pitching for a couple of years now, enough to the point where they could actually make some trades. But why is it Nolan McLean? Paul Skeens has done everything he could. Tarek Skubal threw 5 innings on Saturday for the Tigers in an absolutely meaningless game. I know the World Baseball Classic is an exhibition, but you see the atmosphere. You see people care about it. It's more charged than some spring training game in Lakeland. Tarek Skubal was in the dugout. He drove over in a storm to be with his teammates. So he cares. Why isn't he pitching is my question. He's not going to go out there and go 120 pitches. He's not going to burn his arm out. He's at much risk throwing in the World Baseball Classic as he is throwing on a backfield in the middle of Florida. So I just don't get this. If we're taking it seriously, take it seriously. If it's the Tigers holding him back, well, he's not going to be a Tiger for long. This one just kind of ticks me off.
Yeah, that feels like a decision maybe driven by the optics, even though, like you said, there should be no reason that he would be at any more risk pitching for one event versus a spring training game. So kind of an interesting dichotomy there. We'll want to ask you about some Cardinals stuff. Von Herrera getting his way back toward the Cardinal lineup, but what's your read on how much he might really be catching when the season gets going? And I guess having the bat is at least something, because he's the most productive righty in the Cardinal lineup, you would think.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't have a good handle on what Oliver Marmol and what Chaim Bloom and the rest of the front office is going to put together in terms of the lineup. This obviously isn't your normal contending Cardinal team that's built to win right now. This is a team where they're still figuring out who are the guys who we can use, who are the guys who are going to be here when this is a good team, and who are the guys who are just either holding a place or are more trade bait. They've obviously traded off a lot of good players. But I think, we're going to see more platoons. with Herrera, the knee, and remember, he had the elbow surgery in the offseason. How much is he going to hurt them at catcher, either defensively or with guys running on him? That's what I don't know. We haven't seen enough of him in spring because of the two issues. I think they ejected on the outfield experiment pretty quickly. So we'll have to see how they deploy him in the various possibilities. They've got good catching depth, which helps them. So is it a platoon? Is he rotating between a couple positions, whether it's catcher and DH, and first base, now that that's open? It'll be interesting to see exactly how they put this entire lineup together when we get into the real games.
Will Carroll, the injury expert, here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app as we get closer to the Major League season. Also on the Cardinals side, not really a surprise. It would seem that it was going to take a little bit of time to rehab from the ACL, but Hunter Dobbins, they did confirm in the last few days that he is going to start the year on the injured list. So with a guy like him, when the Cardinals, look, they got to fill out a rotation, at least for now. How then does Dobbins then maybe factor in once he is ready to start to ramp up and vie for one of those spots eventually with the Cardinals?
Yeah, I mean, he's throwing pretty well. He's just not able to field his position. And it's a little bit of a hobby horse of mine to talk about how important is that. At some point, when you look at how many pitchers get injured, like Dobbins, fielding the position, at some point do you say, hey, defend yourself. If something comes right up the middle, take care of that. But let's not be running after the bunts. And even covering first is one where I'm not entirely sure there's the value to it. I think you do it when it's easy, but you don't kill yourself to do it. I think for the Cardinals rotation, obviously Dobbins is one of the top 4 or 5 guys. So you would think that he would fit in there. But, Fitz is in there. It still remains to be seen if Liberatore is really a top tier kind of guy. Is Dustin May the guy we've seen before, or is he the guy we've seen the last couple of years after his arm surgeries? There's nobody that's really going to keep somebody throwing well out, nor are there a ton of prospects at the top level. I haven't seen a lot from Gerangelo Cinci, who they got in the trade for Donovan. I love him. I think, especially with him focusing more on one arm than the other, there's an odd sentence. He's basically going to be a right-handed pitcher that can occasionally throw with his left if he really needs to. I had a discussion with somebody in the Cardinals organization about that, and I was like, what's the worst that could happen? He has Tommy John on one and he can still throw the other way. It's one of those situations where I think it's going to come down to, I hate to use the term, but hot hand. Who is throwing well? They've got a lot of young pitchers. They know how to get people to and from Memphis. So I think we're going to see a lot of rotation. I'm curious to see Liam Doyle this year. I'm not sure where he's going to start, but he was their first round pick last year. Really, really good young pitcher. And he's one of the few guys in that organization that has the chance to be maybe not an ace level pitcher, but the kind of number 2 you put behind the ace when you're a really good team. I like him a lot. I think he could move fast. I don't think they need to move him fast, but I'm curious to see him early in the year, maybe down in Springfield.
Moving along to some conversations about the team on the other side of the state. Jonathan India, it seems at this point to be precautionary, Will, but dealing with a groin issue, held out for a couple of days here. What's your knowledge of what India is dealing with? And obviously a piece the Royals would like to make sure is healthy to be part of that lineup that they're hoping can be more productive this season.
Yeah, you're exactly right, boss. It's one of those very easy things where at this time of the year, even the minor things you want to make sure don't get major. So you go through it. When something little like this, you would call it a tweak. It's a minor grade 1. It's enough to bother him and to keep him out for a couple of days and do the treatment. You get really, really conservative this time of year with any minor thing. You're going to see a lot of guys over the next couple of days, get pulled because their back is a little stiff, their hamstring's a little stiff, and it's mostly because they don't want it to be more than that.
Will Carroll, the injury expert, here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Now, last night in the WBC, or earlier in the WBC, we saw Seiya Suzuki exits with Japan when they were eliminated in the quarterfinals, when after an awkward slide, and now it's looking like the knee might be a little problematic for him. What are you kind of seeing with his situation and how the Cubs are handling it now, Will?
Yeah, this is another one where the roster really comes into it. It's where is he going to fit? Is he going to be an outfielder? Is he going to be the DH? Is he kind of on the outside looking in like he was at times last year? So this is one I'm definitely watching. They were going to get their hands on him, see whether he needed imaging, and hopefully we'll know more in the next couple of days with Suzuki.
Will, what's new at Under the Knife and injury territory?
Tons of stuff. Obviously, we're getting ready for the season. Tons of injuries. I did one show this week for Injury Territory that everybody should watch. It's basically an explainer on Tommy John. We all talk about people needing it and how often it happens. And actually, the numbers are way down this spring. I'm digging into that for an Under the Knife later this week. But if you really want to understand what the procedure is and why it may have saved baseball, check that out on YouTube.
It is such a big part of pitchers' lifespan nowadays, with each pitcher having to go through that, it seems, at least once every time they get to this level. So excellent stuff over from Will Carroll, Injury Territory, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, his newsletter, undertheknife.substack.com, gives you great injury insights into Major League Baseball. Will, thanks for coming on the Big Show and talking with us. Hope you're well. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, all boys.
Big Show is on at 4:43 KTGR and the KTGR app. And yeah, tonight's World Baseball Classic final should be interesting. We'll talk more about it, but Will Carroll had some thoughts about them not using Tarek Skubal in the way that they maybe could have to be more advantageous for tonight's game instead of having to use Nolan McLean.
Yeah, McLean didn't pitch well in his last World Baseball Classic outing. We did see Tarek Skubal pitch recently, but did it in a game that doesn't have any meaning. And so you kind of scratch your head about that. He's, in line to make a ridiculous sum of money this offseason. He's already making a ridiculous sum of money through the arbitration win that he had over the Tigers. So, you get that there's going to be some caretaking there, but, he's in the dugout at these games anyway. It is a little bit curious, but I think part of it is just everybody's kind of feeling their way through. Hey, how much should we care about this thing? How much priority should we devote to this thing relative to, we know our MLB games matter. What about this? And I think Team USA sort of was dipping its toe in the water the last World Baseball Classic, and they lose at the end of Japan. And this one still feels like there's more support for it, and more of the big names are in it, but there's not quite that full-throated we're in for this. And I kind of think they're trying to toe that line of still winning it while not being all in, which is going to be interesting because we know Venezuela is going to be all in tonight.
And that's going to be a raucous crowd too. What an environment we should expect in Miami coming up a little bit later this evening. So we'll be looking forward to that. But up next, under the bus, why did Derek Jeter have to take this type of shot at Kansas City? That's next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Quick schedule note, Mizzou baseball is not going to happen tonight. Tigers were scheduled to take on Kansas, the Border War rivalry in Kansas, at 6 o'clock this evening, but that's been moved to 4 o'clock tomorrow due to inclement weather. So the Tigers will wait one more day to renew that Border War rivalry. They're coming off a weekend where they were swept by Auburn, who's number 5 in the nation this week. 15-5 overall are the Tigers. Again, you can hear Mizzou baseball tomorrow, 4 o'clock first pitch, 3:45 pregame start on the KTGR app as Mizzou goes and visits Kansas. Meanwhile, Mizzou men's basketball getting set to take on Miami. 10 versus 7 matchup in St. Louis in the NCAA tournament. Tigers will tip off with the Hurricanes at 9:10 p.m. approximately. You can hear it on KTGR with coverage beginning at 8:30. Mizzou women's basketball will also have postseason play on Thursday. They play in the WBIT at Seton Hall. That tips at 6 o'clock. Pregame begins at 5:45 Thursday night right here on KTGR.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking mostly cloudy skies tonight as I'm tracking a disturbance that could bring a couple of flurries. Temperatures drop down to about 33. Tomorrow is much warmer. We're going to see mostly sunny skies and high temperatures in the mid-60s. Clouds return tomorrow night, keeping temperatures in the 40s, but we're warming back into the 70s by Thursday. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
On Simmons Field, swinging a ground ball, hit past third and the left. That's a base hit. And across the SEC, fastball, swing and a miss. He struck him out. The Tigers are ready to roar. There it goes, long drive, deep right field. That is gone. This is your radio home for Mizzou baseball. The Tigers win this one in a walk-off here in the bottom of the ninth inning. Mid-Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
Hey, construction dude, congrats on the killer contract in Cape. Sweet. So, how are you going to get that Mongo crane down to the job site? Here's a haul of an idea. Just Google I-70 Towing. They're Mid-Missouri's go-to crew for heavy equipment hauling, too. Semis, dozers, RVs, goosenecks, farm and construction stuff, school buses, boats, bring it. If you use it, they can move it. Call the team they think you'll really love to meet. I70towing.com. Goosenecks. Give me some long necks.
Hi, I'm Sarah Sticklin-McDonald.
And I'm Charlie Sticklin with the Sticklin & Sticklin Law Firm.
And I'm Mizzou Softball's Natalie Touche. At Sticklin & Sticklin, all we do is personal injury.
We've earned millions for our clients since 1991.
On the diamond, I trust my team. Off the diamond, I trust Sticklin & Sticklin. Don't let the insurance companies strike you out. Let Sticklin & Sticklin go to bat for you. Sticklin & Sticklin, it's a home run.
Just like you, 1851 Underground Tap and Grill is excited about watching Mizzou hoop it up in March this year. So put on your black and gold, grab your brackets, and meet your friends at 1851 Underground. With daily drink specials and half-off select appetizers for happy hour, it's a perfect place to take in the tournament. They've also got great Saturday specials on Bloody Marys and mimosas. It's no secret, but it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton. 1851underground.com.
From the trainers to the coaches, the equipment managers to the players and fans, it takes a whole team to be truly successful. Hi, this is Sophie Cunningham, and if you're looking for the best team of jewelers in Columbia, it's Betts. Their staff has years of experience handcrafting jewelry, and when you combine that with the newest technology, it gives Betts Jewelers the ability to truly wow their customers. So talk to the team at your hometown jeweler today. Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia.
These beautiful moments begin at Betts. Begin at Betts.
Farming comes with pride and pressure. Long days, unpredictable weather, rising costs, and worries that don't quit. You don't have to carry that stress alone. Talking helps. Show Me Strong Farm Families offers free, confidential telehealth counseling with professionals who understand agriculture. Search Show Me Strong Farm Families and take the first step. Call 573-882-4677 because talking helps. Brought to you by University of Missouri Extension.
Your foresight is so good, you can practically see into the future. But fortune telling isn't the career path you want to take. Instead of predicting people's futures, you can help build them at Fuse 32. Because you recognize things before they can even become problems. You love the thrill of success and getting paid for it. All that's left to do now is look into that crystal ball and see yourself on the sales team at Fuse 32. There's nothing we can't do. Apply now at Fuse32.com.
Do-it-yourself projects are getting a lot more popular, and that's great. Some things you gotta leave to the pros, like welding. Think of it like watching your favorite team and yelling at the guy who biffed the play that you so easily could have made. No, you couldn't. Or you'd be out there doing it. Leave the sports to the pros and the welding to Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. Repair work to custom fabrication. Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. True beauty is on the outside. Kretsch'sCustomExteriors.com.
If it's Mizzou sports, it's happening here. Now, back to the big show on KTGR.
So last night, Team Venezuela getting it done to advance to tonight's WBC final. Took down Italy. Michael Garcia for Team Venezuela getting interviewed by the studio crew for Fox. It's Kevin Burkhardt and David Ortiz and Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter, man, tees up Michael Garcia for I think is an unnecessary question. Says, look around, Michael. Look at this environment. Does this remind you of Kansas City? And Michael's like, not even close. Michael Garcia was honest. Like, yeah, this is a different environment than Kansas City. It's usually not filled to the brim like that at Kauffman Stadium for regular season games like it was for the WBC final in Miami. Of course. But why do we need to ask that? Why do we need to belittle Kansas City, who, by the way, is one of the top 3 rated markets for viewership for the WBC this year? There are a ton of Royals in this thing, and rightfully so, Royals fans are watching. So, like, why do we need to dog on Kansas City, Derek Jeter, for not having full stands for every single regular season game like it did for this WBC semifinal? Come on.
Yeah, I could see a more favorable viewing of his intentions with that question and say that it's not specific to Kansas City, that if Michael Garcia played in Denver or he played in Detroit or he played in Cleveland, gosh, I'm naming a lot of Central Division teams in the American League.
Yeah.
But like, I'm just thinking of kind of the random, and like, there's that, he's Derek Jeter. He played for the Yankees his whole career. There's that like flyover vibe to any Midwestern city.
Yep.
So I think it was more about a way to like showcase the positives of the environment that they did have for the WBC rather than to dog on specifically Kansas City. I think Jeter would have made the comment to, 15 of the 30 cities if Michael Garcia had hailed from those teams. I think it was more about the positives of this environment, but yes, because Kansas City is the one that gets mentioned by name, it's kind of like that feels like a cheap shot a little bit.
Like, didn't need to say it that way and like have the chuckle and all that, and just
what's the way to hype the environment without putting down his home environment, which happens to be tuning in at a very high rate to this tournament?
Yeah,
fair question. Derek Jeter is not a seasoned broadcaster. He's a former MLB player that has turned into one. And so I don't think he meant anything by it, but I can see why people would look at that and go, well, that wasn't necessary.
Well, as far as our statutes, we will honk the horn.
No, that's fair.
That's enough.
That's fair
for us to get it over the hump there. Also, under the bus to USC, I guess, they apparently Matt Leinart has went on a podcast here recently, and he said that USC keeps asking him if they can unretire his number 11.
That's a bad look.
And then give it to like a 5-star recruit that they're trying to get or something like that. That's how Matt Leinart characterizes it. And every time he has said, and I quote, absolutely bleeping not.
If that's your answer once, though, if you answer it that way one time, why would they ask again?
I don't know.
That's the part that's weird to me. Like, if you're gonna do it, just do it, but not on my watch.
And Leinart said that the only situation where he would do it is if one of his sons ended up at USC. Yep. Like he's got
makes sense.
He's got a kid at SMU now. Like could transfer there. He's got some younger kids, but that's the only situation where he would let them wear number 11. USC, like that. First of all, let's stop retiring numbers for everybody. They maybe learned that lesson from retiring a bunch from way earlier in their history. So maybe somebody else's fault. But
too many programs have done that.
Yeah. Mizzou may be also in that boat a little bit.
Mizzou might be on that list.
But yeah, that's on USC for like keeping up the persistence on Matt Leinart saying one day we're going to break him down and we're going to be able to give 11 to this.
It's a bad look to ask once, but after that, just accept that you are the one that retired his number.
Team USA, I mean, the team camaraderie across sports is unfathomed, but they walked in with the hockey jerseys today. All the players, Aaron Judge and Pete Crow Armstrong and some of the other guys, Bobby Witt, walked into the stadium at Lone Depot Park with the Team USA hockey jerseys that Jack Hughes and several other players sent to them to try and keep up the spirit for tonight's WBC final. And that's a cool gesture to see that. And the hockey jerseys look excellent. You can wear those anywhere pretty much. That was well done.
Yeah, you like to see that. And, there's been a lot of that sort of USA pride when it comes to athletics recently. So you're hoping that they can win another tournament. They got it done when it came to the hockey and the Olympics, and now baseball's chance to do it for the national pastime. Kind of expected to do it in this case, whereas it was maybe more of not a surprise. We knew USA Hockey had a chance, but Canada probably felt the sting of that loss in a similar way that I think USA would feel it tonight if they cannot get it done.
Yeah, that's why it was tough, though.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see who will come out on top tonight. We'll give our predictions next. We'll talk about what expectations we have for this WBC final. And again, a little more about how the pitching is being handled and whether that could change down the line for the next WBC, what the future could be for the event. Give us your thoughts on that coming up next at 5:05. We'll also talk about the Broncos adding what could be considered a number one wide receiver that the Chiefs now have to deal with. We'll talk about it at 5:25.
Hi, it's Hillian Hart. This December, let's make some Christmas magic together in Europe.
Join us December 6th through the 14th for Colette's European Christmas Markets Tour.
We're heading to Prague, Dresden, Vienna, and Budapest.
Think holiday shopping, amazing food, and that once-in-a-lifetime Christmas feeling everywhere you go.
And since Colette takes care of the flights, hotels, meals, and local experiences,
you can focus on having fun.
Get the full trip details now. Go to 943kat.com.
Before the sun comes up and long after it sets, ABC 17 News and Storm Track Weather keep working for you, gathering the information your family needs to take on the day, alerting you to breaking news and health and safety concerns in our area, plus tracking the latest weather conditions to help you plan ahead. It's everything you need to know from the team you trust most. ABC 17 News and Storm Track Weather, where the news comes first.
To you, they're basically invisible. Tiny, weird, winged insects. Out of sight, out of mind, right? Not exactly. You see, while you're living your best human life above ground, there could be up to 1 million termites foraging for wood underneath your home. Steve's Pest Control needs you to know that termites are a serious problem. Like up to $5 billion a year serious. Oh, and that homeowner's insurance you've got? Yeah, termite damage isn't covered. In Missouri, it's not a matter of if you're going to get termites, it's when. A termite queen can lay over 20,000 eggs a day, and their colonies could house up to 1 million termites each. Upgrade your 5-star service with Steve's to the 5-star Advantage plan. In most cases, for less than $1.50 per day, you can show those termites that the Centricon system and Steve's Pest Control are a serious threat too.
Hi, I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station. KTGR
is Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Broncos land receiver Jalen Waddle in a blockbuster trade with the Dolphins. Denver acquired him in a 4th-round pick in next month's NFL draft for a 1st, 3rd, and 4th-round picks. Waddle, one of the fastest players in the league, will provide a needed big play element for Denver. Our Harry Douglas.
Look at a guy like Jalen Waddle, who is, low compact to the ground, can get in and out of breaks at the top of the routes. Not a lot of wasted movement while he's running. In the blink of an eye, he can take a hitch, he can take a slant, he can take a shallow route. The distance. And then if you're a DB, like I just mentioned, if you want to play around and not get out of your back pedal, touchdown over your head for a deep one.
Miami in rebuild mode continues to stockpile draft picks, right now with 11, 2 in the 1st round. NBA Timberwolves will be without their best player for the next week or two. Guard Anthony Edwards sidelined by right knee soreness. Minnesota is 6th in the Western Conference. NHL Oilers forward Leon Draisaitl will miss the rest of the regular season with a lower body injury. Edmonton third in the Pacific. Duke's Cam Boozer among 3 freshmen named to the AP All-American first team.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business's needs. From quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options. Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
From Faro,
15 to the 10, to the house,
Bush,
back to the wall, and it's got her.
and Arrowhead,
Touchdown, Kansas City.
to your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
We got more predictions. WBC final tonight. We'll give our predictions for that. We want yours too. Also tell us who your national champion is that you're putting in your bracket. 573-875-KTGR. Don't forget, download the KTGR app for free and upload your handwritten bracket for free, and we'll give you a KTGR t-shirt for free. A lot of free stuff. Be sure to take advantage of that. We'll also talk about the Broncos landing Jalen Waddle in a trade from the Dolphins. So now the Chiefs have to deal with that wide receiver in their division twice a year. Can they catch up with this Broncos team? Because technically they do have some catching up to do after how last year went. Call or text us at 875-KTGR with your thoughts on that. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
Still not sure how I feel about Mizzou and Miami being the last game of the round of 64. We'll spend all damn week anticipating it, but I'll try to find a way to distract myself with the other goings-on across my bracket. We talked earlier about who we think's going to win it all, and Andy said his heart's on Houston, his head's on Arizona. I hadn't even filled out my bracket prior to the show. I'm still kind of tweaking things, but I think Arizona's a good pick. Arkansas could give them trouble, but I just trust how complete of a team that is. I like the Big 12 teams in general. Iowa State, I'd love to put them into the Final Four. I just saw a stat, though, where teams that rank a little bit lower as top 10 KenPom teams, but rank lower in offensive efficiency, don't hardly ever reach the Final Four, so that's kind of got me tripping up. You can see all sorts of stats this time of year that can make you second-guess your bracket. That's the worst part of it.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
USA Venezuela tonight in the World Baseball Final Classic. And this is one that USA is probably going to want to get, but it's a loaded lineup on both sides. By the way, Royals feature on both sides. Michael Garcia, Salvi Perez on the one side, Bobby Witt Jr. on the other side. It's going to be a fun one. I just wish that USA had somebody other than Nolan McLean pitching. Nothing against him, but kind of feels as though they could have maybe saved Tarek Skubal for this. I know he's got to worry about that big contract coming up, but yeah, it would have been nice.
Number 3.
Mizzou football did pick up a nice 4-star tight end commitment from in-state kid Jack Brown out of Francis House Central. That's good to keep the tight end pipeline going. Technically, tight end pipeline from the same area that Brett Northfleet came from, so that's kind of cool. I know we don't talk always about the high school recruiting ranks as much anymore, but that is still a nice win for Trane.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
Looking forward to the first 4 this year. You've got an SEC team in there tonight with Texas taking on NC State. Could be a lot of three-pointers in that matchup, a total at 158. I just hope the offenses are great. And then we get to see tomorrow Miami, Ohio in the first 4 against SMU. Miami, Ohio, the big underdog, but that kind of feels like a nice little Cinderella story, even within the first 4 of the tournament. Pretty fun.
Number 5.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face. Slap.
Wow, big NFL trade today. Jalen Waddle goes from the Dolphins to the Broncos. Yeah, they gave up a lot to get him. Denver does not want to give this division back to the Chiefs, do they? Guess not.
That's the Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
Yeah, we'll see. 875 KTGR. That is an interesting one to have to deal with there now for Kansas City because, okay, give Bo Nix a couple options. He's got Cortland Sutton and Jalen Waddle all of a sudden. So
he's got what he needs.
That'll be interesting. We'll discuss more about that here on the Big Show. Also, yeah, that's a It's a good pickup for Drink today. Jack Brown. He also got Chris Harris Jr. today. So 2 commitments from Mizzou football. Their class of 2027. They're up to 5 now. Harris is a guy at Elise Summit who's highly ranked state of Missouri, kind of the athlete type, but he plays wide receiver and also in the secondary for his high school team. So that's another big one. But certainly with the addition of Brown, like anytime you get the top kid in the state, which according to 24/7 Sports he is, regardless of position, that's notable. 6th overall ranked tight end nationally in the class of 2027. And I think Brett Norfleet went to Francis Howell, and this guy, Jack Brown, Francis Howell Central.
Same school district.
Not we'll make the distinction there, but yeah, that's cool.
I said same area.
Yeah.
It is the same area.
Pretty much. St. Charles, stand up. Is that what is that West County? Is that the distinguished? I'm
West County would be like West St. Louis County.
Okay, gotcha.
But
all right,
St. Charles County is
a little more outside of West County.
Yeah, a little west. It's my jurisdiction.
There you go. But yeah, that's a good pickup. So a couple interesting pass catchers that you got in the mix to kind of set more of a foundation for what that class could be like. And we'll see. Because again, Brett Norfleet's a senior this year, so you gotta have a plan for what you want to do right afterwards. Doesn't mean that Jack Brown's gonna come in right away and do it, but look, highly touted kid, give him a shot. See. But I did like that from Eli Drinkwitz today. Did not expect a bat signal, but sure enough, times 2. 875-KTGR if you want to call or text us. Tonight, you're double screening both the first 4 and the WBC final between Team USA and Venezuela. Well, then you're doing it right. You've got this all figured out, this March thing. I'm also a little disappointed that, look, again, nothing against Nolan McLean. Sure, he's going to turn out to be great for the Mets, but it waters it down a little bit from what this final could have been. Am I wrong to think that? Like I feel like sometimes Game 7 of a World Series had more high dollar type of starters in that one, and I get it, different situation. It's Game 7 of the World Series, doesn't get bigger than that. This also, though, internationally, doesn't necessarily get bigger than this.
Right.
And then we get Nolan McLean for Team USA. Like
I wonder if when you get to the Olympics, if they treat it differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If and like part of that, Andy, honestly, is the calendar where this happens in March. The Olympics is going to be in July. If they figure out a way to lengthen the All-Star break, guys will be in the flow of the season already. I think there's just this nervousness about injury when it comes to heightening the intensity. Like, yeah, 5 innings in Grapefruit League play versus 5 innings of World Baseball Classic play. What's the difference? Well, like you're going to have to reach back a little bit more to get Ronald Acuna Jr. out compared to whether it's, whatever lineup you're facing in Grapefruit League. It just doesn't matter. The result doesn't matter. And so the intensity, I think, is what guys are. It's a mind frame thing. And in the month of March, I think if all goes well with the Olympic stuff, I'd love to see them move the WBC to July and kind of do the same thing where they carve out the MLB calendar a little bit more, kind of like we've seen hockey do, and say this is the way that we're going to do it, because then I think they'll get more buy-in. But right now, it's hard to, like, I can sit here and say, oh, Tarek Skubal should have just pitched. But it's hard to say that knowing that he's got, I don't know, $200, $300, $400 million contract waiting for him as long as he gets through this year healthy,
That is a hard thing for him. Like, was that Skubal saying that and saying he wanted to have more of a low-stress outing at this point and not pitch all that much? Or the Tigers doing that? Or Team USA trying to save him?
The Tigers wouldn't be able to dictate that. I guess they could, but like his long-term interest is not in Detroit. He's going to leave, obviously.
He's got to.
So I feel like it's more him and his agent. And like, if I had to guess, maybe he's saying, like, he's doing interviews and stuff, which is a little bit weird, because then that kind of opens yourself up to that criticism of like, well, why wouldn't you have been available for this spot? Where they get. Like, again, in Ohtani pitching in the previous World Baseball Classic, like, That's how serious Japan is taking. Like those sorts of things, we don't really see that just yet, the buy-in from USA when it comes to pitching. When it comes to the offensive players and position players, we're seeing those guys. Like you got a star-studded lineup out there tonight. I don't think anybody's looking at the USA lineup going, oh, why wasn't so-and-so included? Why didn't he want to play? You're getting that from your position players. It's the pitching that's still a little bit of a work in progress because the guys with star power have a lot to lose,
And the calendar makes it so tough for pitching now, just with all of that. I do wonder how differently it'd be treated if they're in July and let's say they go, they maybe pitch an inning in the All-Star game and then the Olympics begins right after that, and how they choose to manage it. Like I would think that they would still be cool with having a start where they can go as long as they possibly can and go like 6 or 7 innings, but maybe just one is all they can empty into the tank at that point. Like I do think that the health of this tournament does kind of lay upon Team USA taking it seriously. It's not to say that the other countries can't also bring juice to it. I think very clearly they have this year. The fact that Italy has been able to make that type of run and provide that type of excitement for their country and for the players that, MLB fans are following to see how well they do. Like that's what has made this particular tournament very intriguing, I think, heading into the season. But if Team USA, where the seemingly best of the best are residing, if it's not put together that same type of way for both aspects, not just the hitting,
right,
but also from the pitching side, I would think that they treated differently in the Olympics, but it's one of those things where I maybe have to see it to believe it, Brendan, a little bit.
Yeah, I would think the calendar would be enough to get that to happen, because pitching, like we talk about, well, man, why is spring training so long? Why do they spend so many weeks down there in Jupiter, Florida, and across the coasts of Florida and out there in Arizona? It's to get the pitchers ready. I mean, I think that really is the reason, is that those guys have to ramp up from, playing catch, playing long toss, getting on a mound, seeing live hitters, doing it for an inning, doing it for an up down, doing it for 5 innings, like to get to where you are as a starting pitcher, especially ready for what that looks like. And any change, these are creatures of habit. So any change to your normal process is going to be something that you have to consider pretty closely, just given, how, like historically, think about the way we talked about the Cardinals last April and how they were baking in a 6th starter and they were given extra days of rest, and they ended up having a really healthy season for their rotation. I don't think they can repeat that, but I think the idea behind that is the early portion of the season is when you see the most arm injuries, and so be careful during that ramp-up period. Well, if you're throwing to a super team of Venezuelan hitters on March 17th, like, is that exactly what you should be doing when it's probably, probably pains you to say, I should probably not. But at the same time, there are bigger implications, I think, for a guy like Tarek Skubal, that I'm not saying it's the wrong decision. And like you alluded to, we don't really know who is at the bottom of it. And if it's a combination of factors, a very unique situation where he is potentially going to be the highest paid pitcher of all time when he gets to a contract situation. And he's 6 months away from really being able to solidify that. That's where it gets a little bit tricky.
Call or text us at 875-KTGR. How have you enjoyed the WBC to this point? Is it a little bit off that this is what the pitching matchup ends up being? You can let us know your thoughts on that at 875-KTGR. It's also I think even both sides here of like both Team USA and Venezuela. I mean, obviously USA. The lineups look the way that they do, and even if there were a few players switched out here and there, we'd still be like, man, they're so stacked. There were hard decisions like that Team USA, I'm sure, had to make for this particular game there. And so it's interesting how that then comes out on the pitching side, because it's going to be only like 5 innings tops for McClain, and then you get to showcase some of the other guys as they come in.
Yeah, you're going to you're gonna do the bullpenning for a game like this. I think when you're a little bit iffy on who you had to go with for your starter, I think you're going to see some bullpens tonight.
And there was maybe a little question as to whether Mason Miller was available tonight. If he'd be able to
and they even got an extra day off, right?
Yeah, they did.
They didn't have to play last night.
Again, this thing's rigged for the United States. I just have to say that it's like, come on.
I thought that they had another. I don't follow it that closely to where I was like really in tune with the schedule, and I just kind of assumed tomorrow would be the last game because they would give Venezuela a day off.
Both teams
did not do that.
Yeah, no. Like that, and they mandated whether Team USA won their pool or was the runner-up, didn't matter. This is the quarterfinal that they're playing in, so that they can set it up schedule-wise to where they're playing in the same building that they did in the pool play, and then they can play 2 days after that, and then 2 days after that they can always have an off day in between their quarterfinals. Whereas that wasn't necessarily guaranteed on the other side of the bracket.
It is rigged a little bit, and I don't really know how to feel about that. Like, it's not fair, equitable, obviously, but it's also like, I don't know, Major League Baseball is, behind this thing, and 29 of the 30 teams are in America. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting. But it's like there's no question, the other countries, and maybe Italy doesn't quite count because a lot of their guys are American, right? But Venezuela and Dominican Republic and, Puerto Rico and these places that are guys that from there, were born there and are representing their flags of their homelands, right? I think it's because it's so meaningful is why you get the buy-in of the best pitchers from those countries are going to be in this event. Yeah. And like USA is probably going to have more great pitchers to fill out a rotation of 3-4 guys, whatever you need to get through this tournament. But you're not getting as many of those guys to buy in and play yet and pitch yet. And so that's where it gets to be a little bit interesting. The buy-in for sure. Like if buy-in is enough to win this tournament, we're going to find out tonight because Venezuela will win because they do want it more, if I may. Like they do.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
As an entity, not talking about anybody individually, but like as an entity, they do want it more in the same way that Japan wanted it more 3 years ago. Just means more to them. And so we'll see if it works for USA to be able to kind of coast their way to a win in this, or if we see a similar result against Japan 3 years ago and they fall a little bit short. I think the lineup this time is good enough that USA should be able to do it. And again, Eduardo Rodriguez on the other side hasn't had a great WBC either. But Venezuela goes Acuna, Michael Garcia, Luis Arraez, Eugenio Suarez, Gleyber Torres, Ezequiel Tovar, Wilyer Abreu, Salvi, and Jackson Chourio is batting ninth. Like that's a legit.
That is studded.
It's probably not quite Witt, Harper, Judge, Schwarber, Bregman, Roman, Anthony, Will Smith, Terang, Buxton, but it's still very, very on any given day.
Yeah,
that lineup can tear you up, especially if you're a rookie pitcher, Nolan McLean, that didn't pitch his best in his last outing.
Yeah, and look, also the aspect of, Venezuelan players, when they make it into the league, they come through basically through the same funnel. Like they come up, they get signed, they play for it's a little more compact with where they're playing. And so they can interact with each other a little bit more as they're coming up because of, you just get signed and then you eventually go and join a minor league team. It seems like in the United States, American players, when they come up through the youth ranks, they're also spread out, and then it takes a little more time to them to come together and be a team, right? And so that's also just that. It kind of also plays into the fact that, we're USA, we should win this. Which, they're right to a degree, but the rest of the world has caught at pitching, and the rest of the world has caught up in a big way, I think.
And you're right about the camaraderie. That's exactly how Japan.
That's Japan. Yeah.
Japan plays a style of baseball that is recognizable across no matter who it is. That's just they play the game differently over there. They play the game the right way. I think a lot of people would say it's like a good fundamental style, but they were hitting some home runs in this World Baseball Classic as well. It's not like they don't have power hitters either. So I think with Venezuela, you get a little bit of that, pride for the country pride for USA. Absolutely. It's there. But is it that above everything? Because I would say the comparison of Game 7 of the World Series, There might be Venezuelan players that would tell you this is bigger.
I can't argue with that.
I don't know if there'd be one Team USA guy that would say that, and I would believe him. But I would probably believe it from the Venezuelan players.
I mean,
it just feels different.
Sometimes you just don't get access to the World Series. But now, when you get access to this, while representing your country and having the pride in the country that a lot of these players have, and it's not just the United States doesn't, I'm sure they do, but it just feels a little different.
There's more emotion
going up
connected to it.
100%.
They're the underdog, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just the nature of being an underdog in sports. And you add in, why do you think we consider the Miracle on Ice to be like the greatest, sporting moment, one of the greatest ever when it comes to that? Because you're not expected to do it. It's emotionally charged because of the political aspects and everything that goes into that. That's part of this as well. I think it's hard to manufacture when it comes so naturally, I think, to the other side in Venezuela.
Call or text us at 875-KTGR with your thoughts on the World Baseball Classic final tonight between the United States and Venezuela. Okay, so who you got? Who we got tonight? And
I'll probably take USA. I think it'll be a good game, but I think USA has enough offensive punch. But nothing's going to surprise me. If Venezuela jumps out early, that just might be curtains, because then you start to feel it. This attitude of, we thought we're going to win this game. We're Team USA, so we're fine. If they suffer an early deficit, I mean, there's a lot of guys in that lineup for Team USA that strike out a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's baseball. So who would be surprised if you had one game, even the best offenses in MLB, those games? I think the pressure could end up ramping up a little bit on USA if they fall behind early.
I think both teams will jump out on both pitchers. Eduardo Rodriguez also kind of strong. Yeah, we're going to see the bullpens in the third inning for both teams, I think.
You're probably getting like a 5-4 type of game, 6-4. There's going to be some runs on both sides.
Yeah. I'm going to say the United States gets it done. 6-4.
I like 6-4 as well. Yeah.
Because I think their bullpen, even if they don't have Mason Miller available, I do think their bullpen will have a little more to deal with, again, because they got the off day and Venezuela did not. That's just
tough, man.
It again, it's such an advantage for what the United States can do to win this tournament and what other teams have to overcome at times in order to beat the United States. I think that's what made Japan's win so impressive last year when they were facing off against the U.S. in that final. But that's we'll see what happens there. Call or text us with what you think. Let's go out to the KTGR hotline now. Hello, who's this? Hello, you're on the Big Show. Who we got? Oh, no, last chance. Are you there? Oh, man. I was ready to hear him. Dang.
It seems like they were trying, but they were not getting the connection that was.
I'm going to give him one more shot. Hello, can you hear us? He can't, unfortunately. Well, we tried. He can text us. Our texter does work today. Call or text us at 875-KTGR. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it tonight, and we'll see what happens with Noah McLean, if he can hold on for as long as possible there. Keep weighing in. You can call or text us here at 875-KTGR. We'll also talk about the Broncos adding Jalen Waddle to their wide receiver room. Can the Chiefs keep up with this Broncos team and take the division back? We'll get to that next.
The Big Show with Andy and Brendan continues next on your total sports station, KTGR.
Hi, we're Midway Electric. And since you've got a nice large tax return this year, you've got the ability to put it towards something that lasts, like updating your bathroom with modern light fixtures or new kitchen lighting that pops. And Midway Electric is the team of pros you can trust to bring those dreams to life. From custom lighting to complete electrical upgrades, Midway Electric helps transform the spaces you use every day. Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com. Your restaurant has great food, but you're still not seeing as many people come through the door as you'd like. You offer an amazing experience, and the food is incredible, but you just need more people to try you. That's where ShopMidmo.com comes in. When you're part of ShopMidmo.com, thousands of potential customers will see your offers, helping you build your exposure. It's an amazing tool for restaurants who offer great experiences to the best foodies in town. Find out how ShopMidmo.com can give your restaurant a jump start. Contact us at
ShopMidmo.com.
From elegant weddings to corporate lunches with flavor and flair, Courtyard by Marriott Columbia brings the party and the pros. It's the home of Main Event Catering. And with every event, you'll get an award-winning chef, full banquet staff, and drop-and-go options for any size crowd. And the event center holds up to 300 guests with 8 flexible rooms. If you need help, there's a Marriott certified wedding coordinator on staff too. Book now by calling 573-443-8000.
Now through March 31st at Clark Warehouse Tire and Auto, get up to $180 back on a Bridgestone prepaid MasterCard. Get up to $80 back when you purchase 4 eligible Bridgestone tires, plus up to an extra $100 back when you use your CFNA credit card. Upgrade your ride and save big today at any Clark Warehouse Tire and Auto location. Subject to credit approval, restrictions apply. Visit BridgestoneRewards.com for details.
Clark Warehouse Tire and Auto, keeping Missouri rolling since 1949.
My name is Matt. We used True Sun Exteriors for a pretty big siding project for our house. We used LP Smart Side. We did all new Pella windows, new fascia, new soffits, and they did a house wrap for us. True Sun was great. They communicated well. Whenever they got very large amounts of, say, the front and the side done, it was just awesome just to kind of see just the difference and what the house looked like. True Sun wasn't the cheapest. They weren't the most expensive. We did consider multiple options, but I think at the end of the day, I'd work with True Sun. It's good to see someone's proposal being so detailed and line itemed. You know, we're protecting our investment, and we love True Sun. We love Nevada and their whole team, and I'm confident that if we ever have any issues, they'll be there as soon as they can.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com.
The best thing about spring is that there's no single best thing about spring. It's all good. Golfing, peeing off the deck. Grilling, peeing off the deck. You can do everything outside again. Peeing off the deck. Practice your aim at cornhole and peeing off your Crutch's deck. You don't want to hit those railing posts. All the beauty and fun of spring just go better with Crutch's Custom Exteriors. True beauty is on the outside. See what they can do for you at CrutchesCustomExteriors.com.
Your daily fix of local sports lives here. This is The Big Show on KTGR.
Again, 3 Royals are in the WBC final starting lineups for both Team USA and Team Venezuela. Michael Garcia and Salvi for Venezuela, and then Bobby Witt Jr. leading off Team USA for the Royals. And again, I got to say, I think the Royals might at least be looking at it. I know they at least batted Bobby Witt Jr. at least once first in a spring training game this year. I didn't know if it was in preparation of him doing that for Team USA, because maybe they knew that they wanted him to do that then. I'd be curious to see if they use that at all this year, especially if you have a strong bottom of the lineup that turns it over, and then Bobby Witt's batting with runners on. It could be interesting. Who knows?
Yeah, I like him batting second, but they had struggled with leadoff to the point that, I mean, it would make some sense maybe to just try it out, because you can start the game off with a bang. He hits enough homers and doubles and triples that you'd like to get him batting with somebody on if you can.
Yeah, that's the goal. And we'll see how the Royals try to achieve that here. And look, it builds positive momentum for their season, no doubt. Their pitching all basically returns. They're starting pitching at least, and I think they made some interesting adds in the bullpen. And then you get to see some of the guys showcase. Luinder Avila also for Team Venezuela. He pitched, I believe, last night, so he probably won't pitch today. factoring in for Venezuela there, but still some very interesting prospects for what the Royals could do this year in a division that maybe is a little more gettable. We shall see. But again, tonight, 7:00 from Miami, Team USA, Team Venezuela, battling it out for the WBC championship. Kansas City has a different problem to deal with, though. The Chiefs, in particular, now have to face Jalen Waddle twice a year. And that Broncos team, all of a sudden, that offense looks a little more dangerous to me. A little bit. I'm not going to say that they're like all the way dangerous. They still had more 3-and-outs than anybody in the NFL last year. So, like, yeah, Jalen Waddle probably means that they won't have that this year. I don't know if their offense has solved everything, but Brendan, I'm a little more scared of them today. A little bit of what next year could be for Bo Nix's boys.
Yeah, I mean, they played well this past year, too. So that's, I mean, worthy of consideration. They go out and add Jalen Waddle, who I always feel has been a really good player that has sort of been, I don't know, like, I don't think the Dolphins maximized his talents necessarily. And so you get a guy like that moving into a situation where it feels like, hey, they're a Jalen Waddle away from really getting their offense cooking. That's exactly what they need, another top flight wide receiver option to pair with Courtland Sutton. Then maybe, you know, we see the best version of Waddle. That would be the concern if you're a Chiefs fan, where it's like, yeah, he's a good player, but he goes to this new environment and he's not being held back by quarterback play, which I don't think we're anointing Bo Nix as like a top 10 passer in the league by any means, but he's a young quarterback still ascending. I feel like we've sort of written Tua off a little bit as like we know what his limitations are and you know, just too many decisions with the football that I feel like limited the impact of Jalen Waddle. Now maybe that won't be the case. And yeah, Broncos could be fun. I mean, clearly they valued getting him. They gave up a first-round pick and then some to get Jalen Waddle. So I'm intrigued to see what the fit ends up being there.
I won't call it fun. That's not fun. I don't want to see that Broncos team do well.
It's fun if you don't hate the Broncos, and I don't. You do,
like,
but
I don't know.
I don't mind.
Like I even hated the Broncos before, even like kind of like taking on somewhat Kansas City fandom and marrying into it. Essentially, I didn't like the Broncos before then. Like, no, I don't. Like, of course, Peyton Manning went there. Jeez, just left my favorite team's division. He's gonna go to that team. Figures.
Who should I be hating as an NFL fan? Because I really don't have any enemies anymore. It's like,
oh man,
is what it is. That's the freedom.
Well, you have enemies. You have the Rams. Like you don't like the Rams.
I don't care. Like I don't love them. I don't like them. I'm not a fan of the Rams. But can I root for the Rams in a given game because I bet on them or I have a fantasy player on that team? Absolutely, I can.
Sure.
I root for players, not teams when it comes to that. And the Rams have historically had players that I really like. Now they've got Harrison Mevis. Like, what am I supposed to do? Not root for him to make a field goal?
No, I'm not saying that. Like,
no, the hate is not, you know, it's been 10 years. I don't like their owner. I don't like that they're not in St. Louis anymore, but I can be objective. Cooper Kupp, one of my favorite NFL players of all time, and spent his whole career with the Los Angeles Rams. Imagine how much I would have loved Cooper Kupp if he was a St. Louis Ram. Oh my gosh.
Oh, well, you would have been.
Probably would have named my kid Cooper. You know what I mean? Like that. I was a big Rams fan, but it's just like I'm just dead inside.
First name
now.
Cooper, middle name Kupp. Like
Cooper Kupp Schaefer.
How would that have flown over with the with Emily? How would that?
I don't know. She would have been fine with it. She would have got it. She would have understood. But I just the connection's just not there, right? And so I'll just root for their players that I like, and I don't hate them. I don't hate the Rams. I don't even. Stan Kroenke, what am I going to do? Spend time hating him like it's going to matter in his life?
No, it's not.
He's not going to. He's going to be just fine. I do kind of hate Kevin Demoff, though. That's the one that
yeah. He'll maybe hear it a little more than Stan Kroenke does.
He will. He already blocked me, so he won't hear it anymore.
Okay, all right. Well,
he heard it.
So
before.
It goes.
He heard it before from me, didn't he? The weasel.
Oh man,
what a weasel.
Well,
anyway,
I guess the Broncos aren't that bad.
Oh, the Broncos. The Broncos aren't that bad.
No,
but like when you have a favorite team, you hate their rivals. Like, yeah, for sure. I used to hate the Niners and the Seahawks and the Arizona Cardinals always. But now it's like, whatever. they're all pretty cool. They're pretty good teams. Like,
well,
Seahawks are fun. I can be objective now in a way that I couldn't before with the NFL. I think that's honestly what it comes down to.
Well, and I even came from it from an objective perspective of I keep watching all these Broncos games finish 10-7, and I'm like, I don't know. Why should I like this team?
Yeah, I don't like Arthur Smith.
Like that.
Anything he's involved in turns to, turns to poo. But
right,
it's like, seriously, it's coaches and players, and like the team stuff comes by extension. So if the Broncos get Jalen Waddle and they're playing in more of those high-scoring games, which they had some last year, but maybe that makes them more fun to watch, and you won't have to hate them as much unless it's just truly Chiefs homerism driving the bus.
Just, still not sure on Bo Nix. I think we have.
I don't know either.
I think we have anointed him a little bit too soon. Show me what you can do against the first place schedule. Like that, you'll get to see that this year with what the Broncos will have. And
they'll be 9-8, but they'll be like a respectable 9-8 as a result.
And I'm hoping that Bo Nix is ready week 1. Like I assume his injury should be somewhat
severe.
Ready to go for week 1. So I would hope that he's healthy for all of it. And I don't think he'll play as well as he did last year against that schedule. It'll be a little bit easier now that he has Jalen Waddle. But now for the Chiefs perspective, like I do wonder how they'll be able to get after this team and how they'll get after that receiving core.
They're the incumbents now. They're the hunted in this division.
Yeah. So I mean, it's also like Chiefs wide receiver room doesn't stack up even all that well to what's in the AFC West now. I mean,
no, they're lesser than the Broncos for sure. And the Broncos ancillary receivers are pretty good. I don't know which of them might have just signed elsewhere, but a top 2 of Sutton and Waddle was probably going to be tough to top. Ladd McConkey over with the Chargers.
Yeah.
I like that young tight end that they have as well in Los Angeles. Chiefs might have the third best weapons in the division. Maybe not after adding Kenneth Walker if we're counting running backs. But like the Chargers, Omarion Hampton's a good piece. I think the Broncos are a little bit behind on running back compared to the Chargers and the Chiefs now. I'm not so sure as much about their rookie. What's his face? RJ Harvey.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
all that buttoned up in that position either. And have they re-signed J.K. Dobbins? Is Dobbins still a free agent?
Yeah, I think they picked him back up.
Okay.
I think they re-agreed with him. So their room's fine. Heck, the Raiders, you have Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty. You should be able to carve out a really good skill position group. But there's a lot of other problems with the Raiders that lead to what I'm about to talk about here. What do you think these divisional betting odds are right now post Jalen Waddle in the AFC West? I want to look at 2 different sports books to make sure I'm being fair and balanced instead of just going with one. But who do you think has the shortest odds, the most likely team to win the division this coming season?
Broncos.
It's not the Broncos at either of the 2 sports books. Actually, both sports books are in lockstep with the ordering. So I'm good with the fair and balanced.
Okay, then it must be the Chiefs.
The Chiefs at one book have the shortest odds. They're the favorite. They're co-favorites at the other one with the Chargers at plus 180. And then the Broncos are actually at plus 200. I think that's probably exactly what you have pointed out, Andy, is the schedule. It is going to toughen up on the Broncos playing a first place schedule versus what they had this past year. But it's basically, these margins are razor thin, plus 180, plus 200. And then the Raiders are like plus 1,800. They're not in the running for this.
Right.
But the other 3, it's a 3-way split pretty much, but the Chiefs are given the edge despite, the way last year went for them, which I kind of agree with. Like, you're going to get the Chiefs on a third place schedule now?
Third place schedule. Yep.
Come on now. They're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
That's
what I'm saying. Like
we're gonna look
they hit the ground running in free agency. They took the big swing of getting Kenneth Walker in. I think I still need an edge rusher, but like they immediately filled some needs and now have 2 first-round picks. They pick 3 times in the first 40 picks. They pick 4 times in the first 75 picks. Like, this is as good of top-end draft capital that they have had in a while. And so if they add that to the mix and start to really build up for next year. And they did all that. They did all this against first place schedules in the past. Imagine against a non-first place schedule, even if they were facing the second place schedule, how much better they could do, try and rise up in their division once again. Yeah, I mean, look, they're going to be tough games against the Broncos, and it might come down to the divisional matchups deciding the winner. So you do worry about that. You don't worry about the Chiefs going 6-11 again. You worry about them. Can they rise up to 12, 13 wins right afterwards? That's their goal.
Ooh, yeah. I wonder what their win total
Win
is.
total, I would guess, is 11.5.
I was going to guess 10.5 because I think if you have three teams that are tough, it's a tough division would be the implication there. And that is what the first book I have. It's 10.5 and even plus money, plus 110 to go over that 10.5. Pulling up the other sports book now. Chiefs are 10.5 plus 125, even more of an underdog to get that 11th win, according to a couple of these sports books, which 11, I would say probably wins that division this year because of the infighting within those three teams. Everybody picks up 2 wins over the Raiders in theory, but otherwise you're probably going to see some of those divisional games be split. I think the Chiefs have an advantage compared to what the other two teams are going to have as far as a schedule, with the Chargers playing the second place opponents and obviously the Broncos. We talked about the first place schedule. I think that honestly is what could suppress wins a little bit in the division, but I am a little surprised to see plus money on that. I would have said minus 110. Are the Chiefs going to win an 11th game? Yes or no, even odds, but they're technically an underdog to accomplish that, which may mean opportunity there. Broncos win totals at 9.5 though. So I think people are really kind of picking up on, it's not going to be the same path. Denver, nice move today with Jalen Waddle. Not going to be the same path, and the Chargers are the same, 9.5. So, I would say the Chiefs are considered the favorite at this point.
It should be. And if they continue to have a good draft, if they comb whatever they can in free agency to keep improving their club, then they'll solidify that spot. And we'll be talking about them. Okay, they'll be back in the playoffs. And once Patrick Mahomes is in the playoffs, there's no stopping them until the AFC Championship game at least.
At least.
So all he's got to do is be in, and he'll give his team a shot. But what do you think about the Jalen Waddle move? Does that make it tougher on the Chiefs as they try to climb back to the top of the AFC West? Call or text us at 875-KTGR. I do want to explore what the heck the Dolphins are doing now after they made that deal and signed that quarterback through all of that. So we're going to get to that. We'll get to more of your calls and texts coming up next here on The Big Show.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Schedule note today, no Mizzou baseball at Kansas tonight. That game was postponed to tomorrow at 4 p.m. due to inclement weather. Tigers will play their first of 2 matchups this season with Kansas. The matchup in Columbia will happen 2 weeks from tonight, but they'll move to tonight's game to tomorrow at 4 o'clock. You can hear it on the KTGR app with coverage beginning at 3:45. Mizzou baseball 15-5 after being swept by Auburn this past weekend. Mizzou football picked up 2 commitments for its class of 2027 today. 4-star tight end Jack Brown out of St. Charles committed to the Tigers. He is, according to 24/7 Sports, the top-rated player in the state of Missouri in the class of 2027, regardless of position. Tigers also picked up Chris Harris Jr. out of Lee's Summit West. He committed via social media. He's a 3-star athlete, has played at wide receiver and also the secondary. Mizzou now at 5 commitments for their class of 2027. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with Advanced Tree Solutions. Give your trees the care they deserve with Advanced Tree Solutions, your tree's best friend at AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking mostly cloudy skies tonight as I'm tracking a disturbance that could bring a couple of flurries. Temperatures drop down to about 33. Tomorrow is much warmer. We're going to see mostly sunny skies and high temperatures in the mid-60s. Clouds return tomorrow night, keeping temperatures in the 40s, but we're warming back into the 70s by Thursday. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
The madness.
Fair to the rim for the bust.
Starts.
Robinson open three, launches. Bang!
Now.
Mitchell puts up a three-pointer. Good! And Missouri wins it.
It's the NCAA tournament. Join us Friday. The Tigers, the Hurricanes, live from the Enterprise Center in St. Louis. Our coverage begins at 8:30 on your home for Mizzou basketball.
Mid-Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
If you're craving something delicious, find your way to the Pasta Factory, where everything's made from scratch daily. Their fresh sauces, cakes, quiche, dressings, and soups are sure to tantalize your taste buds. And all pasta entrees are cooked, baked, and tossed to order. Don't leave without sampling those homemade desserts, lovingly crafted by Jason and Rob. Good. The Pasta Factory. Visit them at 3103 West Broadway Business Park, right in front of Walmart. Celebrating 50 years in business. The Pasta Factory, where fresh meets flavor.
Hi, I'm Sarah Sticklin McDonald.
And I'm Charlie Sticklin with the Sticklin and Sticklin Law Firm.
And I'm Mizzou Softball's Natalie Touche. At Sticklin and Sticklin, all we do is personal injury.
We've earned millions for our clients since 1991.
On the diamond, I trust my team. Off the diamond, I trust Sticklin and Sticklin. Don't let the insurance companies strike you out. Let Sticklin and Sticklin go to bat for you. Sticklin and Sticklin, it's a home run.
The nominations are in. Now it's time to pick the winners. Now through April 12th, you'll decide the winners for Inside Columbia Magazine's Best of Columbia 2026. Vote up to once per day for the businesses and places you love, including Best Coffee, Best Auto Repair, Best Brunch Menu, or Best Dispensary. You can vote once per day, so come back and support the businesses you love most. Best of Columbia 2026 starts with you. Vote now through April 12th for your favorites at InsideColumbia.net.
It's game day. Are your moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms keeping you from the action? Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, could help you get back to the game. Skyrizi is proven to help people feel significant symptom relief, achieve remission, and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine for adults. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or ulcerative colitis.
Control is everything to me.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's and ulcerative colitis combined. Learn more at skyrizi.com or 1-866-SKYRIZI.
You've seen the trucks. You've heard the name, but there still seems to be some confusion. So let's settle this once and for all. Yes, Steve from Steve's Pest Control is a real guy.
Okay, sure. I'll believe in Steve when I see a termite riding a unicorn.
Time to squash those rumors, like Steve squashes spiders. Steve's Pest Control isn't some big corporate chain, and they're not some call center based in the land of make-believe. Steve's Pest Control is a locally owned, family-operated company. From ants to termites, bedbugs to wasps, Steve's crew handles it all with precision and a dash of Midwestern charm.
Hi, I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control.
There it is, proof of Steve's existence. So don't waste your time calling the not-so-local guys and call your friends at Steve's Pest Control. Local, legendary, and 100% real.
We're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
The best local sports talk around on your ride home. You've got The Big Show on KTGR.
Well, the tournament has started now as the first four has officially tipped off. And later on tonight, we'll see Texas and NC State. The 16's battling it out right now. And again, you can give us your brackets and tell us who you're going to be taking all the way. You can join our bracket pool. Go to KTGR.com and the KTGR app to check that out. And also use the KTGR app to upload a photo of your handwritten bracket. And if you do so, regardless of whether you get the picks right, you'll get a KTGR t-shirt. So that's pretty cool.
There you go.
So yeah, that's something that like you should do, because like it's free stuff. Like, come on, it's
pretty easy.
Like, download the app, write out your bracket, take a picture, upload it. All that could take like 2 minutes. So yeah, go and do that. Free shirt. And then chance to win more prizes by entering our online bracket pool as well. All the details on the KTGR app. We're just talking about Jalen Waddle heading to the Broncos, what that means for the Chiefs. And look, it might make it a little tougher in those head-to-head Broncos matchups offensively. I still think the Chiefs, if their additions of guys like Kenneth Walker can help them out, then it'll make it tougher on the Broncos, who may not be as good defensively. We'll see. They were very good last year, but we'll see how much they can keep it together. I think it's really intriguing on the side of the Dolphins of this Jalen Waddle trade. Like, I get it. You probably want to start anew. It sure seems like they're stripping everything down and seeing what they can build up. Okay, great. But my question is, again, if you were going to do that, why spend $40 million to bring in Malik Willis? Like, why? Draft a quarterback. Like, build it that way, you know?
Well, but is this the year that there's the name there to draft? And sometimes, like, you feel like it's a rebuild because they haven't found their franchise quarterback yet. Our assumption is that Malik Willis will not be that, so why spend all that money? Sometimes you luck into something, and like Malik Willis ends up being a sensational player because he's tantalizing with the legs, the arm is better than we thought. And then suddenly, if you're the Dolphins, you're like, wait, we can do it with this guy, and we've got draft picks to put around him. And nobody likes to suck in the NFL. Like, some teams just do it perennially because they don't know any better. But I don't think the Dolphins are really that way. They want to be as competitive as they can be. And so not conceding anything is like, look, they didn't spend $40 million on him per year. It's a 2-year contract, right? $20 million a year or so, something like that.
Something like that.
So it's a lot of money in the grand scheme to like the world at large. In the NFL, it's not really that much money. And so if he stinks, well, okay, then you know, you end up at least trying something that was fun and getting even better draft picks the next year. It's actually a 3-year contract, 3 years, $67.5 million. So it's a lot of money. $45 million is the guarantees. It's I don't know. I just don't know who's their quarterback going to be if you didn't do this. I think they knew they were done with Tua, and like Tua's signing in a place where he might not be a starter. So
right. Okay, so you pay all that money to make Tua go away, and then you guarantee a bunch of money to a quarterback that you probably, ideal situation, is going to go away within the next 2 years. Like,
but you just like, I think we say the draft a quarterback thing without, there's so many unknowns. Which quarterbacks are going to be available in the next draft class? Are they going to be in a pick that, you know, they can have one? Like, I don't think they need to intentionally tank, because I think when you're trading away players like Jalen Waddle, you're not going to be as good. Like, you're naturally going to lose plenty of games. You get a look at a fun player, keep the fan base invested, maybe in a guy like a Malik Willis. It's like the Justin Fields thing. And Justin Fields now is like a guy that we're praising as a quality backup, but not a starter. I think Willis was a quality backup with the Packers, and now he's getting a chance to start. The other thing is, too, like, these salary caps are so high. If you don't have a bunch of players making a bunch of money, might as well spend some of that on the quarterback. You got to get to a certain threshold, I think, anyway, with your spending. So, like, whatever.
It's just
it wasn't as big of a contract as I thought it was going to be, honestly, from Willis. I thought it would be maybe $30 million a year, the way some people were talking about him. Well, so I don't really mind it from the Dolphins that they're like 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
In the case of the Dolphins, they have a bunch of players that don't have big cap hits, but they're still like at the cap. And they just have so much dead cap that they have to deal with. And so it sort of hamstrings them. And so like, that's from that aspect of it. And look, it probably not expecting to win this year, but like, again, if you're trying to actually find out about Malik Willis and you put nothing around him, like, you're really going to find out if he can force multiply the wide receiver room that the Dolphins currently have now into something that's serviceable. And if that's the case, then, hey, maybe Malik Willis will work out.
That might be the thought. Like this will be the worst you ever have it.
Throw him into the deep end and see if he floats. Like,
if you're good this year, we'll talk about a longer contract for you. I mean, because we're not going to have much to offer you. But if you run around like, hey, have you seen that Lamar Jackson guy? He kind of runs around. Could you do that? Try to do that. See if we can win 9 or 10 games.
Yeah.
It's not a great strategy, but again, I don't think teams in the NFL want to lose. It is very different, I think, from baseball, where it's like, yeah, we're going to take it slow.
Nor should they. They should want to win.
You get a couple of players at a difference-making position, and it's a requisite number that they spent on him. Again, like signing free agent quarterbacks. I think the Vikings did better signing Kyler Murray for basically nothing. Like, that would be
sure.
Who's better, Kyler Murray or Malik Willis? I don't know, but Kyler has a better pedigree, and the cost is drastically different.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm for those types of moves, but sometimes it just seems those are, I don't know, harder for teams to find, or they want to do something crazy. I don't really know. NFL, it's not always smart people running these teams.
No.
Like, we have this assumption of, they must be doing something to get where they are. Sometimes maybe not. And they like, let's do a reckless thing and sign Malik Willis.
Figuring out as they go. Almost. Yeah. I mean, we saw an inside look at that with Joe Shane and the Hard Knocks, and that's why nobody wants to do Hard Knocks, because we don't.
Still there, isn't he?
He is.
So that's proof of concept right there. That's all you need.
And then NFL teams stop doing Hard Knocks because they're a little afraid that their maybe not so competent front office people are going to get exposed a little bit. Like,
they should be afraid and
exactly.
should probably not offer that level of insight, even though we as fans love it when they do.
So. Anyway, I just thought from the Dolphins side, still very intriguing, and the Malik Willis aspect to me still doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But look,
he's going to run. He's not going to throw to anybody. He's going to run.
Him and Devon Achane are going to just run it.
No, seriously, Waddle would have been wasted on a team with a running quarterback.
Well, we'll see what that looks like in Miami. In the meantime, we'll talk about what happens in Miami tonight in the World Baseball Classic. We'll give our reaction to that tomorrow at 4 and more about the NCAA tournament, of course. Join us tomorrow at 4. He's Brendan. I'm Andy. We're done for now.
Save big money on everything for your next project at the